Hello there! You might notice that I've got a tier list up. That's because I worked and worked and worked all week long and then ran out of time to finish the video I was working on. Today, I am not ranking the characters by how much I like them or how good they are. Instead, I thought it would be fun to rank them by how powerful they are, like a classic tier list. This tier list was put together by Twitter user AspenWatcher, and it seems most of the art is by Ursidae with a couple here and there by Nifty Senpai. That said, there are 600 cats here, so quite a few of them I'm going to automatically dump in this mystery tier at the bottom, because there's so many Warrior Cats background characters that I can't be expected to remember them all or, you know, have an idea of what their capability would be. Especially these Dawn of the Clans cats, I just don't remember half of them. So, without further ado, I guess I'm just gonna get started. Squirrel Star's right here, so we're gonna put her in capable. I know that seems a little bit generic, but I don't think that Squirrel Star's, like, an especially good fighter. I don't think that was ever really her strength. That said, her daughter Sparkpelt, I'm gonna put in strong, because I think that's where she belongs. Stonefur as well, definitely strong. And Soul, we're gonna put in clever enough to beat stronger cats. He is a large man, but he's not exactly somebody who does a lot of fighting. He more so just does a lot of sitting around. I think I'm gonna put Starflower in this clever category as well. Spotfur in strong for sure. Stormcloud, I'd imagine that he's capable. I don't really think that he's... I don't think that he's somebody that we've really seen the fighting capabilities of since he's been a warrior, or seen much of him in general. I'm gonna pick around a little bit, I think, on these images. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna scroll in. There we go. Berry Nose. I think that he's probably capable. I wouldn't say that he's super strong or anything, especially considering he got taken out by Tawny Pelt. Down here we have a category called Weak But Unsurprising, and that's probably just going to be filled with a whole bunch of medicine cats, honestly. Beanos. I think that Beanos is a bit wimpy. I think that she died of illness, but it still makes her feel wimpy. Black Star's strong for sure. Breezepelt, definitely strong. And I have an extremely powerful up here, but it's probably going to be populated by a very specific kind of character. Cinderheart 2, I think she's probably capable. Cinderpelt, weak but unsurprising. Another medicine cat. Although, I do think, you know what, she's gonna go up to a bit wimpy, because she got some warrior training, I think. Just gonna shove Warrior Clan down here in pathetic. I don't believe that they can... I don't believe they're gonna put up much of a fight. I'd imagine that Bumblestripe is capable. I don't think that he's particularly weak on his own. See, Clear Sky's definitely strong, but is he extremely powerful? I don't know on that one. Like, I don't think that Clear Sky has had that many, like, amazing feats, you know? Dove Wing, capable for sure. Hawkwing. I'm putting Hawkwing, actually. I'm taking Hawkwing all the way up here, and I'm putting Hawkwing in extremely powerful. I think that it's really funny how they used him in a scene recently where he just, you know, beat up, who was it, Podlight? I'm always confusing Podlight and Conefoot. Moonlight's also extremely powerful. Moonlight's large. That's how I feel. And obviously this is all just opinion stuff. It's a lot of this is not based on anything. Moonpaw is a child. I'm gonna put Moonpaw in weak but unsurprising. Moonpaw hasn't done a thing yet. Sorry, Monkey Star, I think you're pathetic. I love Monkey Star, by the way. Mole Whisker's probably capable. Mosskit, pathetic. Moth Flight, weak but unsurprising. Mothwing, I think that Mothwing is a capable fighter. Definitely trained as a warrior cat. Mouse Whisker 2, oh geez, a lot of cats are actually gonna go into capable. Maybe I should split it into 2 parts. I'll do that later if I do. Millie, capable. I did have cats in mind when I named all these empty categories, by the way. Rock. Pathetic. Okay, technically he's probably, extremely powerful, but you know what, let's put him in not particularly strong but wildly lucky, considering he has been alive since, what, the dawn of time? Ravenpaw is definitely capable. Rainwhisker, probably capable. Reed Whisker, also probably capable. He did get murdered, but that was like a surprise murder. It was a random murder, you know? He couldn't really prepare for that. Root Spring, extremely powerful. Don't know why. Okay, I know why. It's because he has those sisters' superpowers. I think Rose Petal's strong. Rose Petal trained 5 apprentices. She could probably lift them with one paw. I'm putting that out there. Rosetail capable. Went out as an elder defending the nursery. If I don't really remember them just by default, I'm putting them in mystery. There's so many cats. Especially these Dawn of the Clans cats. Like, I don't have very strong associations for Dawn of the Clans cats, you know? Thistleclaw's definitely strong. Not lucky. Strong. Genuinely strong. Let's see. Tawny Pelt's also strong, almost for sure. That's how I feel. You know what, actually? Striped Star, you're pathetic. I'm putting you down in this. No, okay. I'm not gonna do it. Swiftpaw's also capable. It's not his fault that he can't fight 7 dogs. Thunder is strong. Thornclaw, where did you go? Okay. Strong. Stormtail is... Stormtail was like a well-respected, like, a warrior who was definitely treated as being special on some level, but strong, I'm not sure. Starling Paw, pathetic. No, a bit wimpy. Stemleaf, capable, I would assume. I'm gonna put Stoneteller in the clever section. No, I think not particularly strong, but wildly lucky is more accurate. Twig Branch. I think that Twig Branch, who picked up a child and threw her over a wall of fire, is strong. Not even a child, an apprentice, you know? Yeah, this capable section's about to be really bloated. The books definitely want you to think that Tree is smart. He doesn't seem particularly smart, but Owl? Yeah, no, this is one of the main series villains, I think. The Thief in ThunderClan Owl is definitely strong. No, the Thief in ThunderClan Owl is an extremely powerful character. Oh, you know what? Perchpaw, too. We're gonna put Perchpaw, who kills Mapleshade. We're gonna put Perchpaw in extremely powerful. Oakstar. I don't like you, Oakstar. I can't say that you're not capable in a fight. But otherwise, you know. Oakheart, we're gonna put Oakheart in strong. I think that Oakheart being strong just makes sense. Pebbleshine, huh. Pebbleshine got defeated by a truck full of chickens. Capable. It's not really a fighting failure, a failure of physical capability to jump into the back of a truck filled with chickens. In fact, it's pretty impressive to be able to jump that high, I think. Lion Blaze, very obviously, is extremely powerful. Lionheart, strong. Leafpool, I would say, is definitely in the capable section with her sister Squirrel Star. She trained as a warrior for a while too. Like, I don't think that there's anything keeping her down, you know? Hairlight. Where's you know what? We're gonna add a row below, but capable? Question mark. So the cats that I haven't been 100% convinced about that have died in horrible ways or had some level of misfortune. I'm dragging them into wildly unlucky but capable. Stick too. Stick is definitely gonna. Yeah, Stemleaf. Yeah. I wouldn't say that what happened to Swiftpaw was an unlucky situation. It was more of a capable but poor decision making. I don't know if we need that category or not. I think that there just needs to be a category up here that's like above average, but not specifically being super powerful. Yeah, this is just based on feelings. Like, okay, Gull Swoop, most of her personality is just being a gossip, but we don't need to worry about that. Maple Shade is definitely not particularly strong, but wildly lucky. Like, everything that Maple Shade comes up with just happens. It just works, regardless of how silly it is. Leopard Star, definitely strong. Maybe, No, Leopard Star is extremely powerful. I'm putting her up there. Obviously, Lion Blaze is, like, in a tier of his own, if we're being completely honest. Lion Blaze hits all of these guys out of the water. But I think that on some level, extremely powerful to me means somebody who's kind of going above and beyond in their capability for fighting. Okay. Moonflower wasn't a bad fighter, I don't think, but, you know, she was sent into a bad situation, and I don't know if that was, like, luck, because she probably could have said no, but, you know. Minnowtail was a Dark Forest warrior. I think that she's probably above average, at least. Is this Leaf the Sister's Tom? I'm gonna put him in mystery. Wait, well, no, because he's gotta be capable, at least. He's a Sister's Tom, he's got Sister's Tom powers. He can do all of that magic ghost stuff. It's kind of dangerous, you know? Feathertail unquestionably has to be up here somewhere. I think Feathertail's in our above average category. Not to just default to everyone with a collar going into pathetic, but I can't really help myself. Hoot and Jumper aren't particularly weak or strong, but they definitely feel wildly unlucky to me. Scrolling way up here now to put Jessie in extremely powerful. I think that absolutely anything that she wanted to do or accomplish she could have done with minimal effort. From a physical standpoint especially. Lion Eye, aren't you one of those Shadow Clan kids who dies horribly? We're putting you in a bit wimpy. There's no world where Misty Star wasn't at least above average, so we're gonna put her up here. Jay's Wing, I'd say he's wildly unlucky seeing as he gets possessed. Mudclaw's gotta be above average. It's really easy to skew this though, like, because we saw so much more of the fighting capabilities of the early arc characters, it's much easier to just look at them and think, yeah, they're capable, they're strong. But with the middling arc characters or the late arc background characters, it's pretty impossible. One Eye's definitely extremely powerful. 1 star and above average, I think. I think that Poppy Frost is probably just capable. I can't imagine. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe it's some sort of projection when it comes to characters that I like a lot. I never really think of them as being strong, like in a physical sense. Oh, Snowfur. Snowfur, I think, is definitely in the strong category. Snowtuft, wildly unlucky, because he gets used as a punching bag so much. Weak but unsurprising for the absolute child here. Sorreltail. Sorreltail is going up in strong. She was used as a bodyguard. She is definitely powerful. Spiderpaw is a child who's afraid of water. We're gonna put him in weak and unsurprising, but unsurprising too. Yeah. You know, why is Mosskit empathetic? Mosskit should be in weak but unsurprising. What, Mosskit is probably empathetic because I thought it was funny. A little bit wimpy for Sweetpaw, mostly because all you ever remember about her is that she's dead. Pickle, pathetic. We're putting Ivypool in impossibly powerful, I think. Extremely powerful. Not impossibly, not impossibly. Hollytuft is probably capable. We just can't know. Ivytail, yeah. I think she was a Dark Forest trainee, but I don't remember much about her. If I'm not lying, which is, you know, hard to say. Gorsepaw, was probably capable, but definitely wildly unlucky. We're gonna put Flywhisker in a bit wimpy. I'm sure she was a fine warrior, but she definitely left to become a kitty pet, and by the standards of warrior cats, that's not exactly a strong move. Curlfeather. I'm gonna put Curlfeather up here in extremely powerful, actually. I think that she's I think that she's got some stuff going on. Or maybe... no, I think she is. I think she is an extremely powerful. Coriander is a tiny baby child. We're gonna put that in, pathetic. If we can. If we can get to pathetic. We're putting Coriander in pathetic. ThunderClan Frecklewish, I think, is probably above average. She does basically bowl over a Mapleshade in, like, one hit. Alright, I think Frost Dawn is actually above average. Well, no. I think that Frost Dawn is not particularly strong, but wildly lucky in that I think that she may or may not have been possessed a little bit when she attacked, no, well, I think that she's fine. Like, I think that she's at least capable, right? But something definitely came over her when she killed Splashtail in the narrative. You know, Finchlight, I really just want to say is above average. Frogleap is pathetic. I don't care what you say. I feel that way. I feel that way in my bones. Graystripe, they've made a big deal about being very strong over and over and over again, and very handsome. Look at that handsome old man. If this was a handsomeness tier list, I would be forced by the narrative to put Graystripe in, like, the S tier, unfortunately. Granted, then every single she-cat in the history of existence would all be in this pretty category. I think that Sasha is definitely wildly unlucky but capable. Shellheart. Capable. Well, no, above average. Above average, because maybe it's just the way that Rainflower talks about him, but it seems like he's definitely up there. Oh, Sharptooth. Sharptooth goes into extremely powerful. Sharpclaw was strong as well. Not really as strong as his son ended up being, I don't think, but... They make a much bigger deal about Hawkwing being strong than they do Sharpclaw being strong, I think. In the end, in Hawkwing's journey specifically. Buff Silverstream in the forefront of my mind when I see her. I think that Slatefur is capable, in the same way that Slatefur is average in every other way that he exists. That's such a boring category, is capable. But so many of them fall into it because it's just true. Most of them, honestly. If they got their warrior name at all, sometimes it seems like they're probably gonna fall into this category, so I did split it up a little. I split it up a little. I gave it an above average category, otherwise it would be way bigger. I'm gonna say that Splashtail is extremely powerful, because there's no trickery in the... Okay. There is trickery in the way that he takes control, but there's no trickery in the way that he's really... There's no trickery in the way that he, at the very least, kills his own deputy, or maybe that counts as a sneak attack. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I should be putting Splashtail in, not particularly strong, but wildly lucky. Or maybe clever enough to beat stronger cats? I don't know. He's... No, no, he's extremely powerful. He has to be. There's no way otherwise that he can just one-hit KO a Hairlight like that. Cora's capable. I think that Darktail is... I think that he's in the clever enough to beat stronger cats category. Or maybe the wildly lucky category. Not that I think that he's a bad fighter, because I don't. It's more so that he led people away, made sure they were alone, and then drowned them all alone like that. It seems a little bit more trickery adjacent, all of his murders, than anything. Okay, I'm actually gonna put Bumble in wildly unlucky, because I do not think that there was anything making Bumble incapable of living in the wild. I think that it was really mostly just rejection. It's hard to live alone in Warrior Cats, even if you were born alone. I think Crowfeather's above average. Cody, I think, also is capable. I don't think that Cody's really in the default kitty pet category. Crooked Star, This is hard, actually. Because he could be in the strong category, right? Because he is strong, definitely. He's treated that way. But he could be in the extremely powerful category because they definitely make it out to be that A, he was training both in real life, but also in the Dark Forest with Mapleshade. But at the same time, they also make him out to be like one of the most powerful leaders ever or whatever. So I think that extremely powerful is where we're putting Crooked Star. I guess Pack Leader's probably strong. I could put Pack Leader in the extremely powerful section, because it takes multiple cats to take him out, but, no, yeah, I'm gonna put him in strong. That's how I feel, because he's alone here. He's just Pack Leader alone in this category. If it was the dogs, I would put him in extremely powerful. I love Bella Leaf. I'm putting Bella Leaf in above average because of nepotism, actually. I take back what I said earlier about cats I like not usually being put in those categories. Badger Fang is weak but unsurprising. Ashfur is extremely powerful. Don't know how he did any of the stuff that he pulled off. I'm gonna put Ant Pelt in the wildly unlucky category as well, because I'm sure that he was definitely average at least. Amber Moon, a bit wimpy, gets taken off by an owl. Taken out by an owl, at least. Berry Heart, quote-unquote clever enough to beat stronger cats, but, you know, not clever enough to keep her mouth shut and not get absolutely killed. Blossom Fall, at least above average, but I think strong. I think that most of the Dark Forest trainees are probably in one of those two categories, unless I haven't seen much of them. Some of these are, like they should be in weak but unsurprising, but it's funny to see them in pathetic. Egg. I think Egg is a bit wimpy, honestly. Doesn't even stay in SkyClan. He gets recruited and then just vanishes. Runny Nose is pathetic. Scourge. Scourge is up here and extremely powerful. Putting extra claws on top of your claws is definitely, definitely a valid technique for this list. Actually, no, I'm gonna put him into clever enough to beat stronger cats as well. Not to do two of those in a row, but Nightheart just seems to know everything. He'll be like, remember back when we did this, and this, and I wasn't born for 4 more years, but I remember it in perfect detail kind of conversations. And he also does a little bit of tricking, so I think that he goes in clever enough to beat stronger cats. Nightcloud above average. Night Star, yeah, a bit wimpy. Taken away by an eagle? Pathetic. Brambleclaw. I want to say Brambleclaw goes in strong. Yeah, that seems right to me. Broken Star 2. Strong. Not so strong that they're not someone that can be taken down, but definitely strong. And Brightheart as well. Brackenfur, I'm gonna put in above average, meanwhile. Birchfall feels a bit wimpy to me. I don't feel like he's a strong guy, but I guess most of that is like an emotional strength, you know? I feel like he is an emotionally weak man. Ice Star we should probably put up here in strong. I don't feel like she really portrayed herself as being physically very strong beforehand, but I think that she has to be. She was a Dark Forest warrior, now she's leader. I mean, it's gotta be in there somewhere. This unquestionably skews that a lot of the non-clan cats are going lower and lower and lower, and a lot of the clan cats are higher and higher and higher, but this is really just based on the fact that those those non-clan cats get beat up so much in the books. I mean, I remember there are instances of kitty pets really doing a number on other characters, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that I remember which kitty pets those were by name. They'll have names like Max, or, you know, Tiger, or that big fluffy guy that we saw outside and didn't learn the name of because he beat us up. And Clawface is probably at least above average. Took a bunch of cats that I didn't immediately remember something about from this bottom category, and I shoved them all in the mystery section just because I know who most of these cats are, but trying to remember their, in-book capability is a bit hard. I think that Rain tried his best. I think that he goes in the clever section. He's not as clever as Darktail, obviously, but I think that he has a little spot next to him at the very least. Rat Leader's extremely powerful. Like, bizarrely, incredibly powerful. Soft Pelt's that cat that needed to be thrown over a wall of fire by Twig Branch, which makes me think that she's, at least wildly unlucky. That and the fact that she's dead now, I don't remember how. Shadow Sight. I don't really want to put Shadow Sight in weak, but unsurprising, because I don't think that Shadow Sight is particularly weak. I think wildly unlucky is probably the best category for Shadow Sight, despite him being a medicine cat. Mudfur, I think, was a pretty strong warrior, actually, so we're gonna put Mudfur up here in strong. Pounce Step's probably capable, but we don't see much of her compared to her sister and brother. And brother, actually. We've got a third brother now who also has more screen time than Pounce Step. Second brother, I can count. I can count words. Numbers. Don't worry about me, I'm fine. We're gonna put Fury in above average. She was the leader of... No. I think we're gonna put her in clever enough to beat stronger cats. Even though she does not seem like she's super smart or anything, she did have this whole implication that she took out the other leaders of Blood Clan. So I'm thinking that she's at least there. Darkstripe too, actually. Like, I don't think that Darkstripe is clever, but I do think that he gets away with a lot of stuff. A lot of background characters in here. Flipclaw. Flipclaw is a bit wimpy. Definitely. So, while the other ant is definitely an unlucky situation, Ant Fur is more of a fell out of a tree twice situation. No, Goosefeather's in the wildly lucky category for sure. I don't see any indication as to why or how Goosefeather gets away or does anything. No. J-Claw, a bit wimpy. I don't know. I kind of want to put him in pathetic. I don't like him. I don't like the guy. Purdy obviously is extremely powerful. Nobody could. No. I'm putting Purdy in wildly lucky. Now, Hollyleaf is a hard one, because I do think that Hollyleaf is a capable fighter, but I think that most of what Hollyleaf does and gets away with is definitely in the clever category. River Ripple definitely in the wildly lucky category for me, especially after that Super Edition. Ragged Star is going in the unlucky category. Shrewpaw, wildly unlucky. Shrewtooth. Man, I feel like I need a new category for Shrewtooth, but I'm just gonna put him in pathetic instead. It's just a category that's Shrewtooth, and we put Shrewtooth in it, and it's between pathetic and weak but unsurprising. Running Wind, I think also wildly unlucky but capable. Strikestone lost to his sister. Let's be honest. That's wildly unlucky. Just having to fight some of the sisters is probably wildly unlucky. Okay, now we can look at this and assess. We can assess, okay? In the the extremely powerful section, we have mostly antagonists. So we've got Moonlight, who's technically an antagonist. I get the kind of an antagonist. We got Sharptooth, who's an antagonist. Curlfeather, One Eye, Splashtail, Ashfur, Scourge, Rat Leader, Leopard Star, kind of. And so we've got lots of characters who were on some level intimidating to fight or whatever. I think that some of these are in here because it's funny, and some of these are in here because I just legitimately believe that's how they would be written, especially Jessie. In the strong category, I guess it's mostly just like big strong dudes that the books have at some point kind of implied are a big strong dude or is specifically capable. I think that definitely goes for most of them, but others are just kind of like on a whim. Like, I don't think that we've ever seen Blossom Fall in action, but I definitely look at Blossom Fall and think, well, she has to be, right? Like, she trained in the Dark Forest. She's got to have something going for her, you know? I used to not like Blossom Fall, and now I think that she's really funny. I'm sorry about that to everybody. And we've got above average, and this is mostly just on feelings, I think. Like, just assumptions about the characters, I think, for me. Because they're characters that are either, like, deputies, or they have some sort of special quality, you know? That, Bella Leaf's only in here because of nepotism. But the rest of them, it's just, like, a feeling. It's a feeling I had. Briarlight works out, and a lot of these other guys don't work out. That's all I'm saying. The clever section, is filled with cats that I think are very not clever. But that's just the way it goes, you know? Like, it's the way that they're written. But I do want to split up this capable section. Okay, and so in the confidence making the difference section, we're gonna put cats who, I don't know, maybe it's somewhere between being capable and being clever, for me here. It's just the cats who are a little bit, standing out from the crowd a little bit more on some level. And I don't really want to put, like even though there's characters like Leaf Star and Dovewing in here, I don't really want to put them up there because they're not giving the right feeling here. So, the confidence making the difference section is I guess me dragging out cats who are a little bit more proactive from the cats who are simply capable. I guess that's what I'm getting at here. Some of them, even though I do think that they are kind of reaching the confidence bar, I don't think they're also reaching the same it making a difference bar. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. Some of them are confident but not making the difference with their confidence. This sounds like some sort of like bad motivational poster that I'm posting here. I'm gonna put Billy Storm up there. So many of these are just nobodies though. I probably should have just gone through and filtered out the people that not only I wouldn't immediately recognize, but I know that other people wouldn't immediately recognize either. Oh no, you know what? I want to put Waffle Pelt up in confidence making the difference. He's like the poster boy for this category. Not Bayshine. Definitely not Bayshine. Bayshine is he's a follower, I think. That's how I feel about Bayshine. So basically, here's what I'm saying. The people in the top in the tiers above the other tiers could, but are not guaranteed to beat the ones in the tiers under them. I know that this doesn't actually line up with things that happened in the books necessarily, but these are my strong feelings here, which obviously it's not entirely the case. Obviously, Hollyleaf killed Ashfur and whatnot. But I think that's basically how it goes. This part down here gets a little bit messy because I couldn't decide if I wanted kits to be pathetic or weak, and I couldn't decide if I wanted apprentices to be a bit wimpy or weak but unsurprising to some extent. Obviously, I think that most of the apprentices ended up in weak but not surprising. But yeah, like we're gonna put Silky Paw down here, and you know, I'm gonna put Sweet Paw down here too. She was one of the first ones I put in. So it's a situation where it's mostly just based on my feelings here. Is the power level of these characters, and a lot of these guys, even though I know who they are technically, I don't really know anything about them as a fighter, as somebody who would be in a tense situation. Like, we can probably assume that Lion's Roar is a strong, capable character of some sort if he was reincarnated into Lionblaze, but I think a lot of what makes Lionblaze strong is a childhood of near invincibility of some sort, so not necessarily anything that's, like, baked into him. Honestly, I doubt anything's really baked into a warrior cat. I think that, I think that while Warrior Cats sometimes makes a more of a nature over nurture statement, I think largely its intention is to make a nurture over nature statement. And so when I see a character like Lion's Roar, I don't immediately think that they're powerful. I just immediately think that they look a lot like Lion Blaze. Yeah, like I could definitely drag quite a few of these up to the capable section and feel nothing. It's just that I already feel nothing. For most of them, you know? Like, okay, Snowbird, right? I know who Snowbird is, you know who Snowbird is. But I'm not immediately going to assume how good of a fighter she is, because I have no idea. Is she the one who avenges her brother? I don't know. You know what? Snowbird specifically, the one that I pointed out, we can move her. We can move her up to capable. Okay, there we go. It's feelings. A lot of it's just feelings. But that's I thought this would be fun, and it was. It was fun. Silverstream's there because she got stronger. She became stronger. And I appreciate that. I hope that the graphic novels keep making the cats buff. Oh, especially Sorreltail. I hope that when the graphic novel comes out, Sorreltail's extremely buff. Anyway, that's my strength tier list. My power, my top fighting game tier list for Warrior Cats. Although, to be fair, if I were to make like a fighting game roster for Warrior Cats, I would probably be changing this up quite a bit. This is really mostly based on the kind of impression that the books give more so than anything, and not really where I would want all the characters to be, if that makes sense. Which is definitely why it's skewed towards all of these big, tough toms at the top, because that's just the way that they're talked about within the books. So, there you have it. It's an opinionated little power list. I will scroll back down and scroll back up one more time. Okay,